Gentlemen, today we will talk something about very interesting, and that will be about the line displacement. Why it's so much important, what is the reason we are doing, and which things you need to have in account in order to have a great operation. First of all, let's see what is the reason we are doing the line displacement while the vessel, let's say, starting discharging. First of all, we have the shore tank here. This is our shore tank. Let's draw it with S. We have our vessel, which is located here, which is located on the jetty. This is our vessel with V. And between them, that is, let's say, interconnected, it is the lines. So here it is the jetty. Okay, let's draw G, jetty. And here we have the lines. Here we can have, let's say, some valves which can lead, let's say, this is the valves section which can lead to another, let's say, tank located somewhere here, okay, short tank. This is how basically the terminals are set up in their flow, in which direction, in which tank the flow will, let's say, happen. Most of the crude tankers, basically what they do, they discharge in the facilities, and the facilities store their blending, process the crude in the refinery. It is very rare that the receiving country will load the crude and discharge it back to the vessel. So it's mostly discharging from the vessel to the shore tanks. But before we start discharging, we have to verify that these lines are filled properly, these lines. So let's draw it L, L. And the quantity that the vessel displaced, that's why it's called line displacement, it is exactly refers the quantity that the piping has. Okay, so basically, if, let's say, for example, we have a line which is 2 kilometers in length, 2000 meters, it depends, yes, we can know exactly how much quantity these lines contain. And what we are doing, we just pumping a quantity starting from the vessel to tank, which is 120% higher than the volume here, okay? So we never pump the exact amount, let's say 100% of the contents of this line, okay, which is 2000 meters, and the contains, let's say, for this, for example, it is, let's say, 2500 cubes, okay? We will pump not 2500, we will pump 120% of 2500. And this is for the reason because we need to overcome the capacity of the line. The rest will be, let's say, through pushing the air, whatever, and verify that the line is being filled. Since the vessel has sent, in our case, let's see in our case how much it will be. Okay. Let's calculate how much quantities the vessel will send and the tank will be received. And what is very important, that both these quantities will be verified both on the vessel, that the vessel has sent this quantity, and the shore tank has received this quantity on the specific shore tank that we have calculated. So how much is it? let's see. So basically, we will send 300,000 cubes. So we need 3,000 cubes to send from the vessel, from here, 3,000 cubes. And then we will see how much we receive here. Okay. The surveyor, the cargo surveyor, will go there to the tank and we'll see how much we have received. Let's see now. How much we are allowed the clearance between the vessel and the shore tank, how much we are able to receive, what is the limit. What is the availability that we have. One moment. So basically, the vessel should be close as much as possible to the shore tank contains, but it's not always the same. I have not seen through my, let's say, entire career on this sector that it will be exactly the same. It will be close, but never exactly the same, because you cannot physically able to transfer crude, which is exactly the same amount, 3,000 cubes, and receiving 3,000 cubes. Never happened that, because yes, there is difference of temperatures, there is different of air pockets in the lines can happen. So the exact one, yes, it will never be. Okay, due to the difference of temperatures and all the things. Let's see. Okay. So we have sent, let's say, we have measured 3,000 cubes from the vessel that we have sent, and we have received here 2,500, let's say 540 cubes. Okay. So we have already difference. From 3,000 we have received less. Maybe, yes, due to the line, somewhere the line was empty or was not filled, yes, fully. But still we are within the 2%. So we are within the 2% that is allowable. The 2%, it is the allowable zone. Whatever it is, let's say, for example, if it goes, excuse me, let's a little bit clean here. 2%, yes, it is the allowable margin that we have, okay? But if we exceeded that 2%, let's say, for example, if we are higher than 2%, let's say 2.1 or 2.5 or 3% difference from 2, what we have to do is to do exactly the same line displacement in order to verify the difference, from where the difference comes from. Again, we have to repeat it. And then if we see, yes, that they are within the 2% difference, yes, we can start discharging. And this quantity also, from the line displacement, needs to be added to the overall discharge, because it's part of the cargo. So in the loss control, it's very, very important to have a great line displacement. And the simpler the system are, let's say, for example, a great setup, let's say, avoidance of empty piping, proper management of the tanks and transfer in between, all that plays a huge and crucial role to the performance from the view of loss control, okay? Because, for example, if you have also a terminal which creates also such problems, let's say, from the beginning, it adds up delays, it adds up the percentage of the error. Basically, it adds up time, okay, and time is money, it's costly for this kind of vessels, let's say, for VLCCs, for Suezmax vessels. And yes, how much operational are all these systems also? The piping, it's well known, it's calibrated. The avoidance, let's say, sending to another tank. Because, for example, if you have a leakage here of one of these valves, some of the product can end it here. So at the line displacement at the beginning, you have also to identify, yes, why you had this difference. So also you need to check what went to other tanks, because you have group of the tanks, and you need to see, yes, after displacement where the crude ended. So you have to take time frames. You have to take the movements in order to see where the crude went. And let's say, for example, if you have already a loss, let's say 60 cubes there, 20 cubes, let's say there, also some cubes there, then you see that the percentage increasing from these all small things, okay? And it is just a small part of, let's say, the loss control itself, the overall performance of the loss control. And all the things, let's say, all the cubes adds up. They're going, let's say, 20 cubes loss on that tank, for that reason, 20 cubes on another tank, 60 cubes on the line displacement, through the difference of temperature, let's say 10 cubes. What else? Temperature calculation, let's say 30 cubes difference. And all the things, they adds up 40, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 130 cubes. Okay, it's not that much. You have, how much? It's more. 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. Yes, 130, yes. 130 cubes. It's not that much. 130 cubes. Oh, excuse me, it is more. It is not 130, it is more. 120, 150 cubes, yes, 150 cubes. It's not that much, 150 cubes, but if you have also dewatering, and you lose there also, let's say, 100 cubes from the warm dewatering, then you have 250 cubes loss. 250 cubes of loss, from the barrel's view of point. Let's see how many barrels is it. it's quite significant. Let's say 250. Oh, for some reason it's stuck up. Okay, 250 cubes times 6.28. So it's 1000. So it is 1570 barrels. Okay. 1570 barrels times, let's say, 65, which is the overall cost of the barrel. Let's say $65 equals 102.050 dollars. Okay, so you have from this loss 250 cubes of, let's say, on a VLCC, it's already $102,000. Okay, much easier just from one discharge. And imagine, although if you have, let's say, 70 vessels per year, just with this small loss, you have already 7 million. So in the year, just from this small loss, you have 7.14 million dollars. Okay, 7.14 million dollars. Just from this small loss, if it is not identified. But the losses are higher. The losses are not only related with the line displacement itself, they are related with the quality of the product. It depends the system from the ELS system, which I have also made a video here on the channel. And the most important thing is that this book here and the specific training that I have created for the crude washing will help to maximize the outturn, because the outturn itself it has various parameters that at the end affect it. Okay, it is the crude washing itself, it is the line displacement, it is the storage of the facilities. So there's a lot of things that need consistently verifications and monitoring the performance. Okay, we have this difference. Why this difference happen? For this and these reasons. And you can do also a thing which is completely, let's say, going against all the standards. Okay, you basically are able to speed up that whole process. Okay, but what you need basically, it is people that are both verifying the loaded quantities on the vessel. Okay, so you need physically people boarded the vessels, make the proper measurements, identify the quantity and the quality at the beginning, and also through the transshipment that the temperatures are kept in good condition. Okay, I have seen some cargoes, and if I will look, let's say, the specs, I can easily tell you which product and how this product needs to be handled in order to avoid this kind of losses. But I had some cases through the historical data, which I unveiled, let's say, while using the program. And that was really great thing that I was able to look on the data, working with the data, and understand the data, how it actually affects the discharging operation. And basically I found that there is some crude grades that actually you are able to have higher losses. So in order to prevent them, you have to look to the specs, to the characteristics, to the exact information that I'm providing also from the training course. And then you have to build your own, let's say, tables and continuously monitoring of the quality of the product in order to avoid such losses. So the line displacement, it's a specifically determined by the rules, and yes, they're clearly stated on the rules, yes, for the loss control. And by following them, by following and knowing all these things, that the 2%, how much the vessel needs to be discharged, how much the tanks have to receive, what is the allowance, with this monitoring we are able to understand the overall performance of the discharging operation. And we can say, yes, that in this part of the line displacement, the things went well. So we check it, we filter all the data, we're looking to the numbers, and that's why I'm always telling to you guys that wherever information you are feeling on the logs, wherever information you are feeling on your documentation, always write the actual time of the things happen. Because I have been on board, I have seen that, okay, the surveyor came late, what time we will put, chief? Okay, we will put the time, but it does not actually reflect the reality. Because if you have the delay on a specific task or on a specific, let's say, operation, that means that something is there that caused that delay. And if we are not able to see what is the reason of the delay, is it, let's say, the surveyor that late came, or it is the vessel that was not ready, let's say, to start in discharging? Because you can see the times adds up, but then, yes, the timing, all the time stamp was fine. And it's very difficult, yes, to identify if the information is already not transparent, okay? I'm not saying that you not have to do, but really reflect the actual time, because it can save a lot of money to the owner, to the facilities, and exactly reflect of how the things are working. At the moment, yes, these things are not being done, and mostly all the time stamps are round up. But if you check how much round up it will be, it is 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour, and this plus hours. In the overall, let's say, operations through the year, 300 vessels adds days, okay? So that's why these small details are really huge, impacting the refineries, okay? The refineries and the economics of the crude, how they're working, and for which reason. That's why these things also needs to be automated, okay? Needs to be automated in order that you have not physically checked these things. When you have automated all the things, it's much able to focus to another level and step up for the research and development, for new products introduced through the, let's say, existing roles. But first of all, yes, you have to have a good support from the IT, because nothing of that can happen if the program is not written properly, the program is not automated, and you still have to watch manually each and every discharge, how the things went, let's say on the line displacement, on all the things. But just imagine the line displacement, it's just a small tiny part of the loss control. Since you have the loss, and the loss is there, and it is, let's say, above 0.3, 0.35, you have to deep dive more on the movements to check what really happened in each and individual time. Does, in the similar, let's say, date and time, two vessels discharge closely or in the same line or the same, let's say, section of the valves here? Because you can have also a vessel which is located here or another jetty, and then it discharges here to these valves, but if these valves are leaking something in between, the crude can pass to another short tank, or this crude can pass, let's say, product to another. And here, let's say, for example, you can see gain, but here you will see a loss on the other side. Loss, gain, okay? So it is really complicated, and that's why I'm really stand on that how the terminal is being designed to avoid such mistakes. It plays a really huge role, and you can see that in the long term, that gives a huge benefit, and there's a lot of money that can be saved. And you can see that if basically you do not have a person that are actually understanding all the things, the losses are unavoidable, okay? They're unavoidable because you do not have people that monitoring all the things, okay? And that's all. You're basically losing money. So you are not able to reinvest that money for the development and the research and the improvement. It is small things, but even in explaining them, not all of the people will understand, okay? Because there is so many problems. The facilities has become so much old, so there is no time for people to focus. And it is not just only, let's say, on that small things, which is not small at the end. It is in the general understanding of how the things are working, okay? And where it becomes really difficult, it becomes, yes, through the approvals, through the things and all that, let's say, stuff that are really downgrade the business development further, okay? So if you have, let's say, for example, we told that it is 7.1 million of the losses if you just have from the line displacement, 7, let's say 8 millions, okay? For the 20 years time frame, it is 160 millions, okay? Just from one thing. And I have discovered more things that was able, let's say, to change how the terminals are working, because basically I have been work and monitor other terminals. I have visit terminals also in Germany, in NWO, let's say, for example, Trieste also. Yes, I have seen there how they're working, and really in MOT as well. So you can see really when you are working with multiple people, and also you are questioning, okay, why you're doing these things, why you do that things, then you are able to understand how they are operating. And what gives you at that point, it is that, okay, they're operating this way, these terminals. It can be any terminals, okay, around the globe, does not matter. But when you put your mind and you ask yourself, okay, why they operate this way, what is the reason why they're doing that, then you're able to create new opportunities. So you can introduce these, let's say, things to your own facility. But it's very difficult to make people accept things, because most of the time this is the problem that you are facing, okay? To accept things, to introduce something new, because change is very difficult. Yeah? Change is painful, and that's why it's not always happened, the change, because yes, we have used to do that 10 years, 20 years. I have heard that many times from different companies, and that's why the change is very difficult for them. For me, the change is something easy, because I'm seeking the change as part of improvement and the optimization. That's why I have created the best available training material on the entire globe, I can say easily, because simply I am the one of the least person around the world that actually seeking the true development, the true development that pays off any penny of the investment. And a thing that I would like to refer today of one of our new membership, NGFAD. Thank you very much for your subscription for the Marine Simulator bundle. I truly believe that from the first video it will be really fascinating to see all that special simulations that I have created, which can cover, I can say easily 90 of 95% of the problems that you will face on board the vessel. And first of all, it is very important to say that when you know what you have to face in front of you, it is very important that you already are prepared. Okay, this is the most important thing. So basically, where you're prepared, when you know what to expect, you do not have to think about it anymore. So basically, you have covered more of, let's say, the simulations and most of risks that are able to come, and you know how to handle them because you know the best practices that has been applied. And all the things that I share here through this channel and through the material, it is things that is actually tested on the field. I have created many projects, and I will create many projects which I will upload also here on the YouTube channel, accessible through the membership. And one of the latest, it is the bunkering optimization project, which reduced the time of bunkering by 50%. It makes it so easy, so safe, that it is really unimaginable in my way of thinking. Because I was there, I have took hundreds of bunkers, and I always think what I'm able, let's say, to improve, or how I'm able to design the system in order that it saves me time, it makes my job easier, and it brings benefit. Okay, I'm not the owner of the company, but if I was the owner of the company, for sure it would be directly benefits money-wise, because look how many times the bunker spend it. Okay, just the vessel is idle there, standing to receive the bunkering. But it's not easy. It's not easy for sure, because it demands really a well-designed vessel. It's also demands and well-designed contracts in place, and with this way you will have a much better overview and transparency of the bunkers that you receive. And basically, I believe truly that the communication is one of the most important tools that we have between the businesses. The proper communication and the proper understanding of each and every problem. Because when the problem arises, if we do not address it directly and properly, then that's all. It has been slipped off our hands, everyone has forgotten, and nobody remembers it anymore, because the problems are appearing in the organizations really fast. Okay, we have to do that. Okay, we have to do this. What is the selection we have there? It is like crazy, you know. What I have seen also through my last role that I have working, let's say, for one of the oil majors, that the level of distraction, it's really high. And it comes, let's say, from the management, it comes from any other, let's say, it kind of comes also from your colleagues. Okay, you have to do that, you have to do this, you have to do the other things. And it's a lot of things hovering. No, you have to do only what is required on your role. And let's say specifically, you are an engineer on board the vessel, or you are a captain on board the vessel. What is actually required from you, it is the safe operation of the equipment and the vessel. So loading, discharging. The vessel is in good shape, you are good to go, okay? That is your advantage. Whatever you do, let's say extra, it is not seen, okay? It is not appreciated as well from the owners, let's say from the companies. So by doing something which is extraordinary, it does not make any sense because you basically are not paid for that. And that is also my point, that we should build a industry and also a way of communication that people that actually building things, that are creating new opportunities and creating new projects which brings development and brings value, being actually valued also from the viewpoint, let's say, of money wise, and also of most of the point, yes, it is money wise, yes, this is how our society is built, but also from the recognition to the industry. In nowadays, you can see that people, yes, are fighting, let's say, on the vessels, on the industries, but the only recognitions that the one that took is the owners. What is the sense there, okay, for an owner to take a recognition, let's say? It is actually the sweat of the people that are working there. And I have never seen one of them to refer to the seafarers, okay? Okay, let's leave it like that. Let's leave it, let's say, the owners, because yes, they have also their own view, their own, let's say, perception and perspective of how they view the things, okay? But our main goal here, it is the education. Maybe also the managers one day will join and will listen to these videos, how to improve things. But I don't think that it is the time and the readiness for them to do so. Most of the time, yes, these things are passing, let's say, very, very hard from the view of point, also changing, let's say, people continuously shifting, rotating, and that's all. But basically, it is a huge loss for the industry, for the development, also for individuals as well, but also for the companies, because they have, again, going to the market, search, let's say, for individuals that are actually fit for purpose, not to be perfect, let's say, as the company wish and all the instructions. This will not be anymore, because yes, the industries have shifted, the generations also have shifted, so the regulations also and the requirements from the companies also needs to be shifted as well. If there is a fail on that, basically you have to review it again. That is it, my dear friends. Thank you very much. See you in the next video. Bye bye from Michael and MOC membership. Don't forget also to join the MOC Talks channel and see their videos. Thank you and bye bye.